I've seen buyers lose tens of thousands of dollars because they didn't know what to look for. Michigan has some of the harshest winters, trickiest land, and oldest houses in the entire Midwest. And if you're not careful, your dream home can turn into your biggest regret. So before you buy anything up north, watch this. Hey, I'm Geno D'Angelo, your Northern Michigan real estate guide. I've helped hundreds of people relocate, retire, and invest right here in Northern Michigan. Because buying a home in Michigan isn't just about finding something beautiful. It's about finding something that's built to last. My goal is simple, to help you love where you live without regretting how you got there. Let's talk about homes you should never buy in Michigan. Every year, I work with people moving here from all over the place. Florida, California, Texas, and even Germany. And they all say the same thing. We didn't realize how different the homes are here. Michigan homes have to survive everything. Heavy snow, wild temperature swings, high moisture, and month after month of freezing. And just because it looks cute online doesn't mean it's built to stand the test of time. And Michigan will test every inch of your house. I once worked with a couple who bought a cute lakeside cottage. White trim, cozy deck, great stone fireplace. But their first winter, the pipes froze and their heating bills were astronomical because they didn't realize that this home had just been used as a summer cottage and was never designed to be used year round. In fact, they spent $25,000 adding insulation, fixing the piping, and making sure the house was ready for year-round use. Because ultimately, this house was built for summer enjoyment, not year-round living. And if you're retiring here, you want peace and quiet, not stress and snow shovels. Those steep driveways and adorable cabins on the hill, they're great in July, but absolutely brutal when the snow piles up. You'll either need a snowplow contract or Olympic level leg strength to keep the snow off of your driveway. And those log homes that everyone loves, if they're not maintained, which means stained, sealed, and insulated, they'll bleed heat and attract bugs faster than you could ever imagine. I helped a retired couple relocate to Petoskey, and they bought a log home. It looked like their dream cabin, but after their first spring and realizing they had to completely refinish the logs, and the fact that their heating bill was triple what they expected, they actually ended up selling that house and buying a different one. Here's the truth. Michigan will humble your house. One of my personal biggest never buys, a home with an unfinished damp crawl space. That moisture turns into mold, heat loss, and headaches. And flat roofs, forget about it. They might look modern, but in Michigan snow country, they're a maintenance nightmare. If it doesn't shed snow naturally, that means it's going to hold the snow. And you'll be on the roof with a shovel in February trying to get it off. And that exact moment is when you will realize why you should never buy a flat roofed home in Northern Michigan. I actually had a buyer who fell for a flat roofed contemporary home in Harbor Springs. And the first time it snowed and melted, it actually leaked through the ceiling because the water had nowhere to go. That sleek design ended up costing them thousands. Here's a big one that often surprises people who are moving here from a big city. Never buy a house without a well and septic inspection. Most properties in Michigan don't have city well and sewer, which means you're relying on well and septic systems. And replacing one of those if they fail could be as much as $20,000. Don't skip it, don't assume, and don't trust the seller's word. Test the water, inspect the septic, and make sure to protect your investment. Hey, if you're finding this kind of information helpful and you like avoiding wasting money, make sure you hit the subscribe button. That way you never miss one of my informational videos. Here's another trap that I've seen people fall into, buying too much property. And this one's personal to me because I own a property near Petoskey that I go to on the weekends that has 50 acres. And sometimes, even when I get busy, I find myself spending hundreds of dollars to have somebody else mow the lawn simply because I can't make it over there. Needless to say, that 5 to 10 acre parcel that you're looking at will be beautiful in July. But if you have a long driveway, you're going to be spending hours shoveling it in January when we get a ton of snow. Unless you can afford to hire help, be realistic about how much property you're able to maintain. Same goes for long, unpaved driveways. They're romantic until you find yourself snowed in. Let's keep talking about land because let's face it, a lot of people retire or relocate to northern Michigan to get away from it all and have a big piece of property to reside on. But that land can be tricky. Make sure to avoid low-lying swampy areas because not only are they unusable, they often attract bugs. Something else to keep in mind is clay soil doesn't drain well. And after a spring thaw, you might find yourself kayaking through your backyard. If you see cattails growing, that's not lake charm. That's a sign of potential flooding. And about those cheap fixer-uppers that you see everywhere that look like a great deal, they could be a money trap looking for a place to happen. If you're seeing old wiring, outdated plumbing, or single pane windows, you're not just fixing this home up, you're likely going to end up rebuilding it. And with Michigan's building costs, that $250,000 fixer-upper could turn into $500,000 very quickly. I worked with a couple who bought a nostalgic 1940s cabin near Gaylord. It had charm, but it also had a failing septic, bad wiring, and no insulation. They thought it was something they could simply handle themselves, but after getting quotes, found out it was much more expensive than they were expecting. And at that point, they wish they would have bought something newer. And if you're thinking about aging in place, make sure you think about accessibility. Homes with steep stairs, narrow hallways, or icy steps might be beautiful, but they are not built for longevity. You're gonna wanna make sure you get comfort and practicality. And here's one locals know all too well: private roads. If there's no written maintenance agreement, you could be the one that ends up paying to plow, maintain, or even re-gravel the road. So if you're looking at a house that is on a private road, make sure there's a private road agreement in place. And that is something we can certainly help you with. And another type of road to avoid is what's called a seasonal road. Seasonal roads are unique to northern Michigan. Basically, a seasonal road is only accessible, you guessed it, seasonally, meaning nobody maintains it in the wintertime. So if you have a hidden cabin that's located on a seasonal road and you plan to use it in a wintertime, it may be very difficult for you to get to. Also, watch for homes that have unpermitted additions that were done DIY. They might look fine, but bad insulation, poor ventilation, or missing permits can destroy your resale value. So make sure you have your inspector dig into the history of those additions. Also, check out those outbuildings, garages, barns, and sheds. If they're leaning, rotting, or have failing roofs, those could cost you a fortune in the long run. And finally, something else to avoid are houses that have trees too close to the house. Let's face it, we are coming off of a once-in-a-generational ice storm, and many of those houses that had trees super close found those trees on top of their house during the storm. And that is simply something I want to make sure you avoid. Trees with big branches can destroy wiring and actually poke holes in your roof. So make sure when you're looking at a house, pay very close attention to how close the trees are. They're very simple to have moved away or removed, and it's definitely something I don't want you to overlook. At the end of the day, Michigan is one of the most beautiful places you can live, but it's not forgiving when it comes to the wrong kind of house. Luckily for you, there are plenty of great houses right here in northern Michigan, and I would be honored to help you find one. If after watching this video, you'd like to learn more about what it's actually like to live in northern Michigan and how to make the most sound investment possible, please reach out to me directly at 231-487-6141, and I'll see you on the next video.